करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Hari Om and good evening. The topic for the day is Art of Giving. A month or 2 months ago, we had had a session on how to deal with wealth or money, rich man, poor man. In that, we were talking about how to relate with money. And one of the important aspects is to calculate the usage of money also. See, it is said that you need to collect money as much as you need. That's all. But it is a very vague term when you say that as much as you need. Where do we draw the line to say that this is what I need? At every stage, we feel that whatever we have is not enough and we need more. So how exactly do we calculate the usage of money? A good formula is given how to calculate the usage of money. First is, you have to calculate in terms of what is required for yourself, for running the family, which is the basic requirement. When you are living in a family, you know what are the basic essential things that are required on a day-to-day basis to run the family. Be it the kitchen requirements, the provision, the milk and other groceries, vegetables, all those things are essential because daily we need to eat. Then you know what it is to run a house, whether it is electricity bill and water bill, various other things that are required there, school fees that you need to pay. So these are essential things and normal things, even including whatever is the normal entertainment expenditure, that what you need to pay to a television cable, telephone cable, all these are required to run the family. So when you have been running the family for at least a few months, you will know exactly what it is, and even as you can anticipate a little bit about this. So this is the first aspect that we need to take care, that what it is required for me to run my family. At the second level, you have to calculate the usage of money that you would spend on your dependents. The dependents may be a close relative who is dependent on you. It may be the workers, the employees, the servants, the drivers, all those people who are dependent on your family. Yes, we do pay salary to those people who are working for us. But not only that, see, if a person works in a organized sector, like in a company or in a industry, there are certain rules and regulations, certain norms that needs to be followed by the management. You need to provide a provident fund, you need to provide for his pension, all these are given in the rules. But when it comes to unorganized sector, like people working for us in our household, there are no such rules. Whatever is required for, let us say, the dependent's family, the primary onus is upon you only. Suppose if there is a requirement of emergency in your maidservant's house, or if there is a one-time payment of fees that is required for a child, all those responsibility comes upon you. So you need to definitely calculate and provide for what is required for dependents also. Then you calculate and set aside, we need to set aside some amount for emergency. Emergency is usually unforeseen circumstances that might arise, mostly relating to medical emergencies. What and when, what will happen? Somebody may meet with an accident, or somebody may fall extremely sick, or we may contract any disease. All this requires, we know now, once we go to the hospital, what is the bill that is going to be raised. So we need to have some funds provided with us to meet with the emergencies. So even the amount that you pay for medical insurance premium and LIC, whatever, all those things comes under this. So beyond this, one need not constantly think about what is going to happen, because then you are inviting disease into your life. That is not the point here. A general idea of setting an amount aside so that in time of emergency, you are not desperately looking for help somewhere else. You are self-sufficient with reference to that situation. This is also a general calculation. Fourth is, it is a very important trait in India particularly, and in generally Eastern countries, is that there is a habit of saving. We need to save. There is no need to spend all the money. And what is the saving meant for us? That when you set aside some amount for saving, let us say a person is working and he needs to pursue certain area of his interest. He is interested in music, or he is interested in visiting some temples and other places that he wants to go, but now he is caught up in his work that he is not able to do it. Maybe he has to find time later to do it when he has. So you cannot always work with the aim of making both the ends meet and keep on working towards only running the family or something like that. So if you are able to intelligently save, you are having a security as to, even as you are pursuing something higher, certain basic needs that are required for you, that is well taken care of. So the interest that is generated out of savings is enough for you to run your family, meaning the thought of what is going to happen tomorrow, or thought towards the money, is not there when you genuinely want to pursue something else. So this is savings. And fifth and most important is, you need to set aside some amount for charity. And that is where we want to connect to today's topic, the art of giving. Charity is something, we will see in detail what is true charity. Charity is something that you need to do to somebody, which is a social obligation, which has nothing connected with you. See, the amount that you give to your maid servant, or the help that you do, all those things doesn't come under charity, or what you do for your relatives doesn't come under charity. It is your obligatory duty to take care of them. That's all. Charity is something where you are not connected at all. It is a social cause where you give something without expecting anything in return. That is charity. That is dana. In other religions also this is emphasized. In our, it is said, I mean, experts have to clarify this, in our income tax also, there is a provision for in ATG and other deductions, where the total charity is calculated with reference to 10% of your income, and it is said like that. Where does this come from? Probably this comes from the Bible, where it clearly says that 10% of your income should go to charity. And these are the laws, like laws in Germany are still there, that 10% has to be provided for church or something like that. It is set aside like that. Even in Islam, it is there that you need to give enough for charity. So charity is something that is prescribed universally. But what is interesting is, our religion also talks greatly about charity, but it does not prescribe any percentage. In fact, if a percentage is given, it is made easy for us, but it is not so. It is going to say that your whole life has to become charitable. That is what ultimately it has to come down to, and where it all starts with dana, or charity of money. So one aspect of your calculation must include what you will give as charity. If you are able to do this, probably you will know what is the amount that is required and how you need to work about it. And you need not now say that you calculate, let's say you live 40, 50, 60 years and I need to do all this calculation, have enough money, then only I'll do something else. Not like that. Even as you work, it is going to come. So this is going to give a rough idea as to where you stand, without even getting into peer pressure or comparing yourself with others. If you want to be satisfied with what you have, from your point of view, from your standard of living, with the goals that you need to achieve in life, how do you calculate usage of money? This is I would say, a brilliant formula that is given. Of this, the most important thing I would say is charity. the question is, why should we do charity? See, there is every aspect of the nature is giving by default. Whether it is a plant, whether it is an animal, cow gives milk, rose gives fragrance, river gives water, sun gives light and vitality. All aspects of nature are giving. It is only man who has this habit of aggrandizing. We may argue that all other creatures have no choice and they are unconscious about what they do, which may be right, but the effect is that they end up giving. They contribute. Man also needs to contribute. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, I think verse 12, Krishna uses a very powerful word, stena. Stena means thief. He who eats without producing is verily a thief. Here he is not talking about charity. He is talking about at least basically doing something to earn your food. A person who has this attitude of not giving anything but taking from the society, he is no different than a thief. It is understandable that when a child is growing in its formative years till it becomes an adult, the child needs to be taken care of by the family, by the society, etc. As the child transforms itself into an adult, that is where his attitude should change from taking to giving. That is why people, when they get into the job scenario, first they find it very difficult to first adjust to the demands of the situation, because till now he has been only taking pocket money from the parents, taking education from the school, taking everything. Even if he wants to give it to somebody, he has to take from the parents and give. Like that has been his life. Now he is asked by his boss in the office to produce, to do something. So therefore there is a shift or change in his attitude or personal. It has to happen. That adjustment takes time. So therefore, one who eats without producing is verily a thief, is a very, very powerful statement that Krishna makes. Now, the question arises as to why we should give. Okay, we can argue that I earn, I eat. Why do you want me to give it to others? What is it that is just going to help me? Or why is it mandatory for me to do charity? Why it is that I must give? First, if you look at it from a very selfish point of view also, if you keep on taking, if you not just taking, if you keep on hoarding things, if you keep on accumulating things, it really chokes your personality. See, there are people who, Swamiji gives this example always, they have the habit of collecting things. In India, I don't know here in North India, but in South India, maybe it's a pan-Indian phenomenon that even in the previous generation, it used to be that whenever any new thing comes, the lady of the house takes and keeps it inside, using it for daughter's marriage or something. It is collected like that. Any gift, any new, any article comes like that, they keep on collecting it. Even in our families, we have seen. And then what happens is that the things like this, not just for daughter's marriage, I'm saying there's a habit of accumulating, collecting. And new things sometimes are bought and without even opening the cover, it is kept in the loft, and we tend to even forget about that. Beyond a point, even dust accumulates on that. To that extent it goes, because there is a collecting tendency, hoarding tendency in us. This tendency, because it is peculiar for a human being, hand does not easily open to give. See, there's a story, I think it comes in some Upanishad or in some Purana, that Pitamaha of all is Lord Brahma. Pitamaha means the great father, the great grandfather. So the Asuras are also his creation, the Devas or gods are also his creation, men are also his creation. So everybody wants to go to Lord Brahma and learn lessons, advice. They want to seek his advice for their own evolution, for their own benefit. So first the Devas go and ask for advice. Lord Brahma gives only one letter as the answer or advice. The letter is Da. The third Da in Hindi, in Sanskrit. Ta, ta, dha, Da. So he says Da. That's all. So the Devas take that advice, come back, and they are thinking and thinking, and they are wanting to understand what does Da mean. So then they consult their gurus or whatever, and they come to the conclusion. Da stands for Damya, Dama. Dama means restraint. Damya means to restrain. So Devas are generally people in Swarga who are indulging in pleasures. So they may tend to lose their self-control over it. So Lord Brahma is giving them advice that you must have control over yourself. You must restrain yourself. So the letter Da is given. Asuras went and asked for advice. To them also Lord Brahma said only one letter, Da. Same letter, he said Da. They also came, thought about it, consulted their guru and other things to find out what does Da stand for. Da stands for, in case of Asuras, Da stands for Dayatvam. Daya. Daya means to be compassionate. Asuras by tendency are violent and cruel. They cause harm and injury to others. So if you want evolution, you need to control yourself. You need to have compassion towards others. This was the advice given to the Asuras. Finally, humans also went to Lord Brahma and they asked for advice. Lord Brahma gave the same answer. Da is the advice given for the human. So then they consulted and came to the conclusion, what does Da stand for? Da stands for Dattam or Dhanam. Dhanam is the attitude of giving, because by nature, human being doesn't give. He's very tight-fisted. You need to extract it out of him, as it were. On the other hand, you see that nature is in the habit of giving only. So, starting point of our action, spiritual evolution, starts from Dana. For your own selfish sake, if you only release what you have excess from within you, you will not end up suffocating yourself. Otherwise, excess of hoarding things actually suffocates your space. Exactly just as your external space in the house is suffocated by unwanted things that you gather, parallelly the same things happen within your system. It is invisible, but a great master can see. Why is it that your arteries choke? It is because of suffocation. That suffocation is happening because of this selfish attitude of hoarding. So in fact, if you want to release yourself from this pain, if you want to ease yourself, you must start giving just for your own selfish sake. So that is the starting point of giving. But we must give because we are ever indebted. That is the real purpose. It is given in our Shastras also, but as I said, it is given in other religions also. A statement is attributed to Prophet Muhammad that he says, he is best amongst you who is best in repayment. So when we say repayment, we think that I don't have any loan. It is not so. From the day that you are born, that you are indebted. And Hindu scriptures classify these debts into 5 categories. You have debt towards the gods, because it is the gods or the powers who are making life possible for you in earth. Sun is a god, rain is a god, earth is a god, vegetation, everything like that. If you see, it's happening because of the power. This power, therefore, if it is not there, oxygen is not there, you cannot live. That is why we need to do puja and other things to show our gratitude to gods. Then you have the debt to the Pitrus or the ancestors. Our ancestors, they are the cause and we are the effect. So you owe a gratitude to the lineage in which you have come. So all the with attitude of gratitude, what you do as Shraddha and other ceremony is a remembrance of this debt only. So you need to follow their footsteps and live those values that the ancestors have lived. That is Pitru Rina. Then you have the Rishi Rina, which is very important. We are going to have this Guru Poornima celebration very shortly. July 5 we will have, followed by a global Guru Poornima event by Swamiji on July 26. We will give the details later. And that is on the occasion of sage Vedavyasa's anniversary, or what you call as Jayanti. Rishi Rina is the debt we owe to the great masters, the rishis, the teachers, the preceptors, the unbroken lineage which has given us this knowledge. Therefore, You need to absorb this knowledge, live this knowledge, and pass on the knowledge to the next generation. That is your duty. So we are indebted to the rishis. We are indebted to the fellow human beings. Our life in this world is not possible without the innumerable contributions of human beings in every form. That is innumerable. You cannot say that I have just paid them salary and therefore my debt is over. Not like that. You have to remember, if a barber is not available for you to cut your hair, you know how much you will suffer. And these are all services that are being done. Not only that, you know, people who help you when you go to a far off places and various other things. All these people, if you think in terms of it, our life in this world or in the society is not possible without contribution of fellow human beings. So therefore we owe a debt to them. So wherever it is possible, we need to do service to them. You entertaining guests at the right time, all this falls under this category. And then lastly, it is the rina to the bhuta, the nature, the plants and the animals. The earthworm helps, the ants help, the crow helps, the cow helps, the trees help. Each and every one of them we owe a debt to. Therefore, it is said right from the day that you are born that you are indebted. Therefore, your life must be one of just giving. As I said, as a child, we need not think about this, or it's not possible. But even then, we can say that the parents need to inculcate the habit of giving in the child. Suppose if you want to give it to a beggar, or you want to put some money in the hundi of a temple, give it to the child and let it do it, so that the child also knows that it must give. But as I said, the real giving starts in the second stage of life, when you are working, earning, and entering the householder's stage. That is where it gets converted, and then the whole life must be one that of giving. Now, what to give, how to give without any motive, that is real giving. So the first and foremost thing is, as we said, physical giving, which is the charity. The minimum, the least thing that you can give is money. Money is helpful in various social causes. Even an ashram or an institute which talks about the ill effects of excessive money needs money to run. So wherever it is possible, and this is the lowest form of giving, because you are not giving anything with reference to your work or your time or anything. What you have, and maybe what you have in excess, that you are sharing with others. So it all should start with physical giving, which is the actual giving. Wherever it is possible, open up your arms and give. Here one thing must be said, that dana is different from dakshina. There are two Sanskrit terms that we use. One is dana. Dana means charity. Dana means gift. Dakshina is not charity. Though most of you would have attended, let us say, Swamiji's yajna or Sunandaji's yajna. At the end of it all, we have this ceremony, which is a traditional ceremony of Guru Prasad and Guru Dakshina. There it is called Guru Dakshina. It is Dakshina because the Guru has spent his time, energy, etc. in educating us, and that cannot be measured definitely in terms of money. But with the attitude of gratitude, we want to repay whatever we can in the form of money, or in the form of any other service that you want to do to him or to his cause that you give. It is called as Dakshina, though we make the announcement that all donations to Vedanta Cultural Foundation, it is applicable, ATG is applicable. The term donation is used, it is not actually donation. In that sense, you can even bring it down to any service that you have received from anybody. What you give back cannot be called as dana. If a carpenter comes and works in your house, you cannot say that I am giving him dana. He has earned and you are paying him. A priest comes and does some puja in your house. What you give him is Dakshina. So Dakshina is what you give for the services that you have taken, and it is very important, particularly with reference to knowledge. Taittiriya Upanishad says that you do not leave Swadhyaya and Pravachana. That means self-study and passing on the knowledge. Having learnt, make sure that you are satisfying the Guru with what is pleasing for him. It says, it is not that Guru at that any stage wants anything, and this can never be measured in money at all. One of the Gurus said that somebody asked, sir, how much should we give you for the knowledge? He said, if I quote the price, you will not be able to give. That is the value of this. It cannot be measured in money. But with that attitude of gratitude, if you give, it helps you to intake that knowledge. That's all. So the master who does not need anything also is insisting this from the point of view of the student. So this is called as Dakshina. This is for the service that you take. But what is Dana? Dana is where, as I said, it is a social cause. It is your social obligation where you do not expect anything in return. Later, if you have time, we will see the Sattvic Dhanam, which is explained in chapter 17, verse 20. He is going to say, Diyate Anupakarini. Datavyam. Datavyam means it ought to be given, and it ought to be given to a person who does no service. He does no service means he has no personal connection with you at all. You cannot. So what you give to a beggar in the street is dana. What you put in the hundi where the temple may use it for a cause is a dana. Whatever you give as a social cause to, some people give it to cause like Akshaya Patra Foundation, where they are feeding school children. Noble cause. For that what you give is dhanam. So dhanam is what you actually give. It is physical giving is the starting point, and that you give whatever be the attitude, first let it come as a physical act. Even the poorest person who earns only 500 rupees a month, he has to set aside 50 paisa or 1 rupee as an amount for dhanam. He is no exempt. Or let us even put it the other way. Even a person who is very rich, he has to do physical service also. He cannot just keep quiet, just saying that I have written a check. At the same time, the monetary dhanam is very essential, irrespective of whatever your monetary status, whether you are a high class, middle class, or any class. You need to inculcate this habit of giving at the physical level. Subtler than that, deeper than that, is to have at the mental level an attitude of charitable disposition. Charitable disposition is the mental attitude of wanting to give. This is very important. To anybody at any stage, you must really want to give. Irrespective of at that point of time whether you are capable of giving or not, or whether it is right to give actually or not, we will come back to that later. Your mind must want to give at all points of time. What can I be of any service? How can I give? So this is a mental attitude. This is tougher than physical giving. Because the mind must change itself into a giving mode here. Charitable disposition. Each and every situation you are thinking in terms of how you can give. As I said, it is not money alone. Swamiji always gives the example of, in Karma Yoga as opening the door and say, Apre Wu. You go first. That is the attitude of you first. Being charitable is to look from the other person's point of view what is required for him, and you are doing that. A very important lesson was given to us in the academy. A person was asked to write on board, and that person was writing something for others to see. So suddenly Swamiji shifted the topic to charitable disposition. We could not understand why. Then we saw that the person who had written on the board had written it in a very, very small letters. Obviously, many may not be used to writing on a board, having been writing on a piece of paper. So that change doesn't come to him. So he was writing. So he said, even as you write on the board, you think in terms of how others are going to see this. That is charitable disposition. So he went on to say that you can improve your handwriting if you have charitable disposition. Mahatma Gandhi said, Mahatma Gandhi's handwriting was very bad. So he said that you cannot blame me. You have to blame my first standard school teacher, because if she had uh, improved my handwriting, put in effort at that point of time, my handwriting would have changed. And later, once it is fixed, it doesn't change. He has a point there. But Swamiji says you can change your handwriting if you change this attitude. If you have this attitude of charitable disposition and you think your handwriting will also improve, like that it is. So charitable disposition is how you can really give at every point of time. Even as you go early into auditorium, you sit in the middle chair so that people who come late can occupy the chairs near the aisle and they don't disturb others. Again, thinking from others' point of view. No, I have to run quickly. I'll sit here. That's not attitude. So at every stage that you are thinking in terms of how you can give it to others, that is at the mental level, charitable disposition. The toughest is that the intellectual level. This term is coined by Swamiji, rational sufferance. Rational sufferance is with the charitable disposition. You are rational here refers to your intellectual capability, thinking, your objectivity, and sufferance is allowing. You are allowing others to be what they are, who they are. With that attitude, you have this charitable disposition. It is difficult to explain also, but much difficult to practice, because the highest form of charity is to let others be what they are, who they are. It really doesn't work like that, because for us, invariably at some point of time, the mind wants others or the world to fit into our mental pattern. However correct it can be also, you have no right or jurisdiction over others' behavior. A person wants to give a donation, one is to physically give the check. Another is to be wanting to really give and give it. That is charitable disposition. If I am not personally likable for him, if he is able to understand this cause is the right thing to give, irrespective of that, if he is able to give it with that same attitude, that is rational sufferance. Just others be what they are. If you need to give at this point of time, if that is your obligatory duty, you just give. That attitude of letting others be who they are, what they are, is the toughest proportion. So giving actually comes at all the levels. It starts with physical giving. It has to further develop into a charitable disposition in the mind. Then at the intellect level, you have to understand that whatever it is, world will be as it is my duty to give and I should give. That's all. Your giving starts and ends there. You are not even bothered about what is happening, what is the result of that action. All those things are not there. Highest form of giving involves that. It is said that you are rich by what you give. It is very interesting. Swami Ramatirtha says, everybody likes white color. White color is associated with divinity. White color is associated with purity. If everything is spick and span, it is nice to look at. We all like white color. We all like something which is very clear and white, right? Like that. And its thought association is also like that. On the other hand, we don't generally like black. Here I am not definitely talking about skin color of a person or anything like that, obviously. But black is something that is dark, that is despised. Anything that is negative also has the association of black with it. Black market. Why do we say black market? Something which is somebody hoards things at the essential time and he hypes the value of it and sells it at a profit, which is a wrong attitude. Then you say it is a black market. Black money. Black money is unaccounted money. You don't bring that money in the books and you have your own thing, which is, so it is called as black money. So we use the term black with reference to something negative. White is always associated with positivity, purity, divinity. Why so? So Swami Ramatirtha says, why is it that everybody likes white? Is because white follows the principle of giving, he says, and black follows the principle of taking or absorbing. In physics, according to the phenomenon of colors, an object appears in a particular color when it is absorbing all other colors and giving back that color. Light is made up of vibrionic colors, and all other colors are combination of this, you can say. So an object appears green when it absorbs all colors and gives out green. So what is interesting to note here is, what it gives out, it has. It gives out green, it appears green, it has green. It gives out blue, it will appear blue. Like that it is. So when does it appear white? Is that when it gives away all the colors. When it does not absorb or take in anything, it gives away everything, then it appears pure, it appears white. On the other hand, when is it dark, when is it black, is when entire light is absorbed and nothing is given back. So interestingly, he connects these two and he says in the context of charity only, you are not rich by what you possess. You are rich by what you give. This is very important. So it is very important in life to feel rich rather than be rich. That is why we said even in the previous session that there is a difference between being rich and being aristocratic. So it has nothing to do with the quantum of money that you have. A person can be a millionaire and still feel like a beggar, because he still feels it's insufficient, he asks for more. So he cannot be counted as a rich person from the point of view of Vedanta. A person can be middle class or whatever he is, but he feels he is always in a giving position. He is aristocratic. That is why this knowledge of Vedanta is meant for Raja Rishis. Raja is a person who is a king. Rishi is a person who is an inquirer. Who is a Raja? Raja is a person who is not thinking of money, who does not think of money. Everything is laid out for him. Like that is that feeling of kingly state, a royal feeling. That is a Raja. So to tone it down to our level, if you are having a house to stay, if you are having enough money to have 3 square meals a day, if you are having enough clothes to wear, which is basically what we call in India as roti, kapda and makan, count yourself as a Raja. You are eligible for that knowledge. In other words, you need not say that when I am going to go into such Forbes list or something and to be eligible for learning Vedanta. No, not so. You have to feel that richness. So you are rich by what you give. You will give only when you feel that you have more, right? So at any point of time, you feel that. And obviously, in completing Raja Rishi, Rishi is also a person who is inquiring. So he is thinking in terms of what is there more than the normal mundane life. Such is a person who is qualified for this knowledge. So it is very important to feel this richness. So a person is considered or deemed rich by what he gives, not by what he possesses. This gift that is said is very, very crucial. It is considered one of the important actions in your evolution. In the 18th chapter, Arjuna is asking about renunciation. Krishna says, one set of thinkers say that all actions need to be renounced. Other set of thinkers say that all actions need to be renounced except yajna, dana and tapa. So yajna, dana and tapa are purifying actions which are evolutionary in nature. So in this yajna, tapa and dana is also given. So dana is considered a very, very important aspect of our spiritual practice. Therefore, it is important to understand how to give, what to give. Most of the people in the world don't give, and a few who give unintelligently. So that is not going to produce the desired result at all. It's hardly people know what to give and how to give. The gift also in 17th chapter is classified under 3 categories, 3 gunas. You have the Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. In all these categorization, you have to understand that Rajasic and Tamasic are not actual definitions. Sattvic alone is the actual. In other words, Sattvic action is the real action. Sattvic knowledge is the real knowledge. Sattvic happiness is the real happiness. But Rajasic and Tamasic are given for us to correct our misconceptions. we may think that we are giving, but that may not exactly fall under the real giving category. It may fall under either Rajasic or Tamasic category. So in order to correct us, in order for us to reflect and go towards the right type of giving, this is classified. What is a Sattvic Dhanam? Chapter 17 verse 20 says, Datavyam. Datavyam iti yat dhanam diyate anupakarine. Underline that word anupakarine. That is very a key word in this verse. Deshe kale cha patre cha tad dhanam satvikam smrutam. Datavyam means obligatory. It ought to be given. That's all. No ifs, buts, prefix, suffix to that. What ought to be given has to be given. To a recipient who does no service, as we discussed, this is a social obligation for you, who is not directly obliged to give you something in return to you or do any service to you. It is incidental that later he may do some service to you. That is not the point here. At this point of time, he needs to be given and you give. He has no connection with you at all. So that is the way in which you have to give. And very importantly, he says, Deshe kale cha patre cha. In the right place, in the right time, to the right person. To the right person. See, so you will find that most of the servant maids, particularly in Indian households, they will have a tragic stories to say. And we are not trying to make fun of them, but it could be real. But everybody has some story or the other to say. Mostly it will be to do with the husband being irresponsible and not taking care of the family. And obviously you need to help them in whatever way you can. But you have to be very careful in giving. Suppose if you give the money to them and if the husband has control over her, he takes the money, then he may that money may go waste. He may end up drinking more. So you ought not to give at that point of time when you know that it will be done. Maybe intelligently you need to do. You need to pay the school fees of a child directly or something like that you do. It ought to be done with thinking. As I said, the charitable disposition must be there, that you want to help her or help any person for that matter. See, suppose a rich person is there, he may not need help. Okay. A poor person at some point of time may need more help in terms of money. But a person who has the car and there is a rainwater that has collected and his car got stuck there and it's not moving, at that point of time you have to help him. That is what is charitable. You cannot say you are rich, you are having car and we are walking all the way. That's, of course, I'm just exaggerating. That's the help that is required to him at that point of time. So it has to be given in the right place, in the right time. Of course, the Shastras talk about certain auspicious time and also, but in general, we have to understand a person when he requires the money at that point of time, when somebody is critically ill and he doesn't have the money, at that point you have to do. You cannot say that, I have set it aside for sightseeing. No. Later you can give 10 times, but it may not be of use to him at that point of time. If he requires to be paid school fees or a scholarship or something where this boy has a potential to read, study and grow further into a IIT or somewhere he needs to go, at that point of time you need to give them. So you need to find out the right person, at the right place you need to give, and at the right time. If you want to honor an artist, you have to give them after the performance in the sabha only, in the auditorium only. You cannot go to the artist in a private and that has some ulterior motive. Like that it is. You have to give it in the right place and the right time. Like that it is. So this is Sattvic Dana. It is very tough to practice, even to understand the impact of what is Sattvic Dhanam. This is the real Dhanam. Rajasic Dhanam is in the next verse. It says, Yat tu pratyupakarartham phalam uddishya va punaha diyate cha pariklishtam tad dhanam rajasam smrutam. That gift given only to receive in return. Pratyupakarartham. Pratyupakarartham means something you give expecting something in return. If not now, later he will grow and do something to me. With that attitude you give. With that attitude, when you give, that gift becomes, it is a business deal. That's all. Even as you say, And not only that, phalam uddishya. By doing this, I'll get this fruit. With that attitude, when you do it to that extent, it becomes rajasic. By doing this to this, I will get this. If not here, later, it can be swarga, it can be punya, it can be anything. But the attitude is, what am I getting out of this? So it is to that extent colored, and it appears as a business transaction. That cannot be called as a real dana. It is rajasic in nature. Not only that, he says, diyatecha pariklishtam. This person is not very happy doing it. He feels a pain. A true danam brings happiness both to the donor and the donee. This is the test. Now here the donor himself is painful. He is feeling difficulty in giving. Anyway, I have to give like that, or somebody has asked me to give, or everybody in my society is giving, I have to give also. Otherwise, like that, with lot of pain he gives. That danam becomes a rajasic danam. And the worst category obviously is the tamasic danam. Adesha kale yad danam apatrebhyascha diyate asat kritam avajnatam tat tamasam udahritam. Gift given at a wrong place and time. Adesha kala. A person in Malaysia was so deeply moved by his sister's plight that she became a widow or something, and out of good emotions only, but he kept on giving money indiscriminately without having any control. Even after people were saying what is happening to that money, he would not allow his emotions to interfere, till the point he saw the photograph of his own sister and nephew drug addicted, that they went into drug addiction and other severe losses. Then he woke up, but it was too late. So you have to give it to the right person, and to the wrong person in the wrong time. In wrong place you should not give. Apatra, a person who does not need, a person who already has, why you would want to give it to him? Just because you like him or something like that. It should not be like that. And asat kritam, avajnatam, without respect. You see, a beggar is there, his fingers are not proper, maybe he's a leper. You throw the coin to him. How will he even pick it up? Tamasic it is. It is the attitude is that you just throw a coin at him. That is the attitude. You throw a check at somebody. In other words, you do not have any respect to the cause. You don't have any respect. All the disciplines in the Shastras are given for the donor, not for the donee. A very famous portion in Taittiriya Upanishad says, very, very famous. Taittiriya Upanishad gives in Shiksha Valli, the master is giving certain instructions to the pupils or disciples who have graduated. So it is Samavartana. It is like convocation. So he is giving a convocation address. In that convocation address only all the beautiful advices are given. You would have known Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara, all those things comes there. Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, everything comes there. What I quoted before also, that do not leave your Swadhyaya, do not leave your progeny, line of progeny, all those things come there. And then he also says, do not leave the Gurukul without offering the Dakshina to the master. All this is given as instructions there. In that, he gives instructions about faith, about Dhanam, and he says beautifully what are the ways in which one should give. Shraddhaya deyam. Whenever you give with faith. If you don't have faith or conviction in what cause that you are giving, don't give. That is why this alone has that other side also given, ashraddhaya adeyam. If you have belief, if you have conviction that this is the right cause to do, with that shraddha you must do. Shraddha is the basis of all spiritual activities, bhakti definitely. But here he says for gift, for actual giving, you must do it with shraddha. Shraddha is the deep conviction with which you know that this is the cause that ought to be done. This is for the welfare of the society, humanity, whatever it is. If you have seen that in that cause, then alone you must give. So therefore, what is important to notice, before you give also, you must know what you are giving for. Many people want to just do some giving randomly without even checking the cause or their deep conviction in it. That is at a very superficial level. Sometimes it may go into some other cause also. That means what? The giver has to put in the effort to understand his conviction also. With that conviction, when he gives, that gift has a value. Shraddhaya deyam, ashraddhaya adeyam. Not to be given without faith. Shriya deyam. When you give, open up both your hands and give in plenty. Often a line is quoted from Shakespeare's Othello about Desdemona. I don't remember the exact line, where he says about the fine character of Desdemona that she found it wise in a virtue not to do more something than ask for her something. See, the essence is that somebody comes and asks something to her, she gives immediately whatever they ask. After they go, she repents that she must have given more. That is her beauty. That is the beauty in the character of Desdemona, that she always wanted to give more. Having given, whether it will be enough or not, she will not know. In the Mahabharata serial, you would have seen Karna. So when somebody asks Bhavati Bhiksham Dehi, even as a child, he brings in a pot full of rice and offers, and he says, what will my two small hands give? That is Karna. Karna was very famous for giving. Give in always in plenty. One thing that is a formula that is given here is that, Swamiji says, whatever you can give very comfortably, you give. That's okay. Feel the pinch and give. Let it be that you are conscious of your giving, and when will you feel the pinches? That when you want to do that extra 10%. So therefore, always give in plenty. Shriya deyam. Kriya deyam. Very interesting. Given with shyness, give with modesty. Why modesty? Why shyness? Because as we saw, there are, maybe we'll see later in the next class, there are various levels of giving. And what you are giving, you are parting with some money or some material things that you have. It is nothing actually. Therefore, a cultured person will feel that modesty while giving. It is not a big deal. As it is said, you have plenty and you are sharing whatever you are having excess with others. There are persons who have given up their whole lives. There are persons who have given up their whole time and energy for some great cause. What are you talking about? A small, I give 100 rupees and write everywhere that such and such person has given. Some person gives tube light in some functions, and they will write on the tube light only. The light will not come that this person has given such and such thing, or they will say my father's name or grandfather's name. What is it that he is giving? You have to feel that modesty while giving. If we read the real stories of givers, we are nowhere anywhere near that. So we must feel that modesty while giving. So he says, Riya deyam. Next is very interesting. Bhiya deyam. Give with fear. Give with fear. What is to be given has to be given with fear. Why so? Because you are in the position of giving, or rather God has put you in the position of giving. The person who is asking from you, he is in the position of receiving. In fact, we can say that he is giving an opportunity for you to give. Without him, your giving is not complete. Therefore, when you are giving without our wanting, one line of ego may crop up in our personality, that I am the giver. That I am the giver. There's a portion in Khalil Gibran, you can read it, where he talks about giving, where he says, again, very complicatedly, he puts it in such a way that in any way that it's not a right gift, where you give as a, myrtle releases fragrance yonder in the valley, like that he says, whether somebody is there or not, its nature is to give, and that plant is giving the fragrance just like that, he is giving. Without any ego, that I am saying that I am in the position of giving. Therefore, give with that fear that it is only an opportunity for me to give, so that our ego doesn't crop up while giving. And then he says, Samvida Dev, give it with friendliness, with a compassion, with an attitude of love and an equal treatment of the other person. It is not that, again, it is a feeling. charitable disposition is a feeling. So all these disciplines are given in the Shastras for the giver, not for the receiver. But what happens? What is the test of? So, from a practical point of view, if you are having any doubt, I would say err on the right side. You just give. If you are going to give some money to the beggar, you need not ask his horoscope and see that what money, how he is going to use it. Just give. If you are having any doubt, you give. But if you are knowing that this particular thing goes into an unwanted cause, a terrorist cause, let us say, or a cause which is harming the harmony of the society or something like that, directly or indirectly, you ought not to give, even though the charitable disposition must be there. If we keep on giving, then the question may arise, what will happen to me? That question should not arise at all. You take history, you take Puranas, you take anything and read that one who has given has always only benefited. Even temporarily, even if he is even devoid of all his money, to the extent that he gives, within a matter of years or generations, it is built up and it is going to go high only. You do not give with the attitude of getting back, but 100 times it will come back is the law. So one need to just have this habit of opening up one's hands and give. There are various stories in the Shastras. As I said, the test of right giving is that the gift is always measured by the result it produces. In Les Miserables, finally, the priest gives the convict who is a transformed person now, gives the candles to another person, and he says that was given to him by a priest. The priest was a noble person, and when this hero was a convict, Jean Valjean, he entered his house one day, and the priest entertained him that night. And that very same night, he stole some silver plates from his house and ran away. The police caught the convict and brought him because they knew that these plates belonged to the priest. But the priest chides the policeman and he says it was I who gave him the plate. And police apologizes and the police apologizes and go. And this convict is transfixed. And the priest takes 2 candlesticks and gives it to the convict and says, remember, my dear son, that life is to give, not to take. Life is to give, not to take. This is the advice he gives. That transforms the convict. This is Sattvic Dhanam. At the right place and right time, he gave this. The priest saw the potential in him, and it is not with the idea of converting him or changing him in gave. He thought this is the right thing to do and he gave. Like that, you will find that any dhanam elevates the mind of the donor, obviously. It definitely produces a positive effect on the donee also. So you will find that there are, again, we'll just conclude with a small story. It's a very inspiring story that in Mahabharata, I think it comes. A hunter is very tired. He could not get any game that day. Towards the end of the day, he comes and he sees 2 pigeons seated pair, husband and wife seated on a tall tree. So, and when they are in a very happy mood, whatever be the dharma of a hunter, he mercilessly shoots the arrow, and the female bird is killed. It falls down. The hunter prepares the fire to eat that fallen bird. The male bird thinks that this hunter who has come to my tree is my guest, and being small, my wife's flesh will not be enough to satisfy his hunger. So it goes up in the sky and falls into the fire with the attitude of giving itself up for the hunter. That's all. Datavyam. It gives itself away for the hunger of the hunter. This, when he sees, it transforms the mind of the hunter. He no more goes into that profession of hunting. The story is that he reforms himself and changes into a great personality. See, the effect of this is that the pigeon does not want to reform the hunter or do what it ought to do at that point of time. It did. And the effect of it is that it is elevating both for the donor and the donee. What are the gifts at various levels which is combined with yajna? We will continue in the next class.
Poornam Adah Poornamidam Poornat Poornamudachyate Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.